Welcome inside Busch Stadium. The Cardinals and the Braves. Game 2 of a 3-game series. The Cardinals victors here last night. And it was an exciting game. And here's the Braves batting order here tonight. Michael Bourn, Jack Wilson, and Brian McCann in the first. Uggla, Diaz, Freeman, followed by Prado, Hayward, and Lowe. No Chipper Jones in the lineup tonight. We may see him later against Jaime Garcia.
Well, Jaime's had a rough second half. He did have a good outing last time. He's getting the most run support in the National League, right at 6 runs per game. And he has to overcome some defensive lapses, giving up a lot of unearned runs. And a lot of times you just sit there and can't pitch around that defensive mistake. He's going to have to learn to do that. But we got to remember, he's still a very young pitcher, still developing.
6 straight good outings for the Cardinals starting staff. Here's the defense behind Garcia. Holiday, Jay, and Berkman in the outfield. Freeze for call. Punto with the start here tonight at second base. Then Pujols, Molina behind the plate, and Garcia, your starting pitcher. Tony La Russa, 2,715 wins as a big league manager.
Inside of 50 wins from overtaking second place in the all-time wins list. Garcia's pitched well against Atlanta. He's 1-0 with a 2.08 ERA and 2 career starts.
Cardinals 7 games behind Milwaukee, 6.5 behind Atlanta, with a chance to pick up today. The Phillies and the Brewers are playing tonight in Milwaukee. There's a foul ball. Strike one. Michael Bourn, a speedster, always looking for a way to get on.
He's also 2 for 5 against Jaime Garcia. Interesting, they got 4 left-handed batters in their lineup.
There's a line drive to left, and it gets down in front of Holiday, who smothers it.
Kind of risky right there, but Matt does a nice job, as you said, smothered or knock it down. And he wasn't going to catch that ball. He did go for the catch, but then realized he better make sure it doesn't get by. With Bourne's speed, that's inside the Parker. So looked like he didn't get gloved, got maybe the left hip. And Michael Bourne's on base. He leads the major leagues in steals with 51.
Got a good look at that base hit on our Plaza Tire Foxmo. Always a threat to steal. Garcia with a decent move to first. And as a lefty, Bourne right in front of him. Not going. And a strike at the knees to Jack Wilson.
Talked with Jack for a moment today. He's in heaven coming over from Seattle. We talked about Brendan Ryan. And he said he's doing fine. He was having a good year. He got up to around 260. Making all the plays defensively, but then he got hurt. I like Brendan Ryan.
Hard not to like him.
Of course, his antics went over a lot better when he was hitting 290 and
right.
Best fielder in the National League at shortstop. 220, it got a little thin.
There's a bunt attempt, and this is going to be trouble. Garcia was falling off the third. He backhands it with the glove, and a high flip to Pujols. Not much of an opportunity anyway. Perfectly executed push bunt for Jack Wilson, and another base hit.
This may be one of those situations, no defensive flaws behind him, but you know, here a bunt base hit just perfectly placed. He falls to the third base side. He flips it, but it's too late. Now we can see if he can overcome it. And once again, our Plaza Tire service brings you this Exmo cam. Didn't really have the time to bend down, put it in his bare hand, and throw it.
Work to do for Garcia. Strike one to Brian McCann, the all-star catcher.
Garcia does induce a lot of double plays. That would help out right here. McCann really doesn't run that well, but he is a very good offensive player.
Garcia 4th in the National League at inducing those double plays. You'd think McCann would be a candidate. Did have a big double here last night, and he's He's the kind of guy that, you know, I don't know if you think about him as one of the top offensive threats in the National League, but boy, when he's at the plate, you just don't feel very comfortable.
Well, he definitely is from the catching standpoint.
There's a ground ball to Pujols. To second for one, on to first base, and the ball is dropped as both Garcia and Pujols were covering first, and a little lack of communication there, and they're going to talk about it. Maybe a little too late.
And this is one of those little things that, yeah, you got to get over there. But when you see that Albert's going to get back to the bag and they get tangled up, you just get out of the way. Let Albert handle that.
Cardinals fortunate that didn't get past those two.
Correct.
And just kind of dropped down. I'm not sure they would get McCann anyway. That would have been a bang-bang play. It's another opportunity, Al, for Jaime Garcia to overcome a situation that might rattle a young pitcher.
Correct. And what you think about here is, hey, I still have the double play in order. I got another candidate to hit into one. Get my ground ball and take your chances.
Uggla, big swing and a miss. 135 strikeouts on the year for Dan Uggla. 9th in the National League in that, but he's been very powerful since the break.
That's right. He's got 33 overall home runs, 18 since the break. That leads the major leagues and 2 more than Albert. But he also, with a 235 average, you make good pitches, you get him out. Jaime keeps the ball down. We'll take our chances. Only time he gets in trouble when he gets the ball up a little bit. And yes, Uggla is dangerous, but he is definitely a guy you execute correctly, you get him out.
There's a nice pitch. It comes back over the inside corner. 1-2 to Uggla. And we say that, Al, about so many pitchers. People may say, well, just get the ball down. Just do it. Why is that so hard?
It really shouldn't be. You know, I mean, there are times to elevate the ball, but for the most part, pitch down.
Bourne the runner at third, McCann at first, 1 out, and the Braves first.
Cutter coming in on him. Jaime has an extra day's rest. Last time out, he pitched very effectively when he had multiple days. He skipped his turn once.
Hoping that will make him stronger for the remainder of the season. 2-2 to Uggla. Just misses the inside corner. Count goes full. Gary Pendleton whispers something into Brian McCann's ear, and we'll see if he's going on a 3-2 pitch. Not going, and a swing and a miss.
That's why I didn't think he'd be going, because you told us about how many strikeouts. And Uggla swings at a ball outside. Down and in, inside part of the plate, and the pitch away.
That's what you were talking about. A good pitch gets him. That was really kind of just a groove swing, Al. And if you hit his bat, it's going a long way.
Correct.
Matt Diaz back with the Braves.
He's always hit left-handed pitching very well.
One hopper to Freeze. To Punto. Garcia does a nice job getting out of it. Cardinals with their first turn when we come back. One of the great things about this game of baseball. Here's the Cardinals batting order for Call, Jay, and Pujols in the first. Holiday, Berkman, Freeze, Molina, Then Nick Punto, the big hit last night, the sacrifice fly game winner, and Jaime Garcia. And they'll be opposed by Derek Lowe, 9-13.
Well, super sinker. He really has a tremendous sinker when it's working. He's had trouble against the Cardinals, 1-7 and a high ERA. And he doesn't go deep into games. He'll take the ball every 5th day. He's been doing that for 10+ years. But he has not pitched one time in the 8th or 9th inning this season.
And that's been a trouble with the Braves pitchers in general over the last few weeks. They just can't get deep into games. Their bullpen, fortunately for them, very good. Freddie Gonzalez in his first year as a manager in Atlanta.
You almost wonder maybe that bullpen getting a little tired.
Could be.
As what we were told, the last 16 games, the starters only twice have pitched in the 6th inning.
Not a formula for success, and neither is a 3-0 count to a leadoff hitter.
Well, the Cardinals got a lot of hitters that have great numbers against Derek Lowe. Percal, 353. Holiday, 514.
6 Cardinals batting 300 plus against Derek Lowe in their career. Cardinal fans will remember, though, a pretty good outing he had against the Redbirds. That was in 2004, and it was in the World Series. He was wearing a Red Sox jersey at the time, and he shut down the Cardinals, and maybe we should try to forget about that.
I remember he's been a starter, and he's also been a reliever.
Ground ball up the middle. Can be a base hit for Percal. Good start for the Redbirds. Braves are 3rd in the National League in defense. Diaz, Bourne, and Hayward. Hayward, a good arm. Bourne with good speed in the outfield. Prado, Wilson, Ugla, and Freeman on the infield. And Brian McCann, the catcher. Derek Lowe pitching here tonight. Derek Lowe got his ground ball.
Yep. You know, a lot of times when you say, okay, you want a ground ball, and he was looking for one right here to try and induce a double play. And if you get the ground ball and it just happens to go through, you really can't penalize the pitcher. Derek Lowe joined Eckersley and John Smoltz, the only pitchers in the major leagues history.
There goes for call, and it's a stolen base, and it's career stolen base number 300 for Rafael Furcal. I like the aggressiveness early.
Now, Furcal saying he wasn't running for one thing with a low batting average, wasn't getting on base. Another reason is didn't want to leave that vacated hole with Albert Pujols. But right now, I think it's more important for him to get in scoring position. Hopefully, John Jay can drive him in.
There's a bunt attempt. Prado off balance throw, and he just barely gets John Jay at first. Furcal advances to 3rd on the sacrifice.
Prado played left field last night, but we've seen him a lot of times in the infield. Very nice here. Bare hand, off balance throw. Near collision right there as Freeman reaches for the ball as John Jay is coming to the bag. Good sacrifice.
Sets up an RBI opportunity for Albert Pujols, who is now at 87.
I was going to say that you want to win the game, but there is a lot of goals, personal goals, and I'm sure the entire team wants to see Albert get to 100 RBIs. He's got a golden opportunity right now.
One 1-0 to Albert. Fouls it back. A 3-for-5 night for Albert gets him to 300. You mentioned, Al, the RBIs may be the tougher of the 3 things to get to. He already has reached the home runs.
It's 298 currently.
Ground ball to left side, and it's past Prado into left field. And Furcal was running on that ground ball, running on contact to create a little stress for Prado, and he couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, he was going to score on that ground ball, and ball right there, tries to play it to the side and just goes. But let's watch Albert coming out of the batter's box. Having a hanging breaking ball, and Just slipped ever so slightly. There we go. And that didn't look good.
Sure didn't. I think I just heard base hit and an RBI.
You know, they're going to help him out, but obviously it shouldn't have been a hit.
I'm a little bit okay with the RBI, not the base hit.
I am too. But
well, this is America, Al.
Yeah. At least it's going in our favor.
That's right. I guess there's enough things to complain about that aren't going in our favor. We shouldn't complain about that one.
And don't get me started.
Oh boy. Matt Holliday. Pujols the runner at first. Cardinals lead 1-0. Eric Lowe does not look sharp. That pitch not even close. Not an overpowering guy, as you said, Al. He really relies on getting the ground ball.
Oh, he's 1-7 with an ERA nearly 7 in 9 starts against the Cardinals.
And you know he has to know the numbers that Holliday has against him.
Somehow you just don't forget a guy that's hitting .514, 19 for 37, 6 doubles, 1 home run. Mentioned that he joined Eckersley, Smoltz, the only pitcher in Major League history with a 20-win season and a 40-save season.
Watch out. Now, Al, it's been a few years since you've pitched, but I would imagine at least a dozen times a year, probably more than that. You will still get asked the question, what guy did you have trouble against and what guy did you pitch well to? So what's happening now, these guys are going to be talking about for another 30 or 40 years.
Absolutely. Somehow you conveniently forget the guys that kind of own you, so to speak.
Swing and a miss. Holliday strikes out. We mentioned these numbers already. Our Toyota keys to the game, Al. The less than stellar record for Lowe against the Cardinals, and that's the number that stands out there. 73 hits in just 48 innings.
Now, a lot of sinker ball pitchers will give up hits, you know, because they get so many ground balls and a certain percentage goes through. But the high ERA doesn't mean he's overcome them. Ricky, people ask me that question. You know, who owns you or anything like that? I say that's a negative question. I can't answer it because what happens if I played him tomorrow? Played against that person in an old timers game.
Freeman's off the bag. That's going to be an infield hit for Berkman. The play took a long time to develop. Off the glove, then they tried to scoop it back to Freeman, and he wasn't on the bag. So that is the 3rd Cardinal hit of the 1st inning.
What were you saying about their defense?
3rd best in the National League.
Huh. I know the numbers say that, but here's another ball off the glove of Freeman, and then Uggla tried to underhand it, and you see that Freeman's not on the bag.
At the time I said it, they were 3rd in the National League.
Well, they haven't been charged with an error, but you know, a couple balls with a little luck would be ground ball outs. So Derek Lowe's not pitching with luck.
David Freese can tack on. Freese, one of 7 Cardinals who has an opportunity to hit 300 this year. And that's going to help. Line drive into the left field corner. It's to the wall. Pujols will score, and Berkman is held at 3rd. And Albert is limping across home plate. And we'll have to check to see what he did coming out of the box, Al, because that appears to still be bothering him. But the good news is it's 2-0 Cardinals.
Well, you know Albert's not coming out of this game. Success he's had against Lowe, just where he is in the season and what he wants to achieve.
Albert limping a bit, but he is safe at home, safe and secure. New York Life.
For those of you that still think the Cardinals are in a pennant race. An early 1-0 lead I saw Philadelphia has over Milwaukee. That was 1-0 and still batting in the first inning.
Brewers have lost 4 straight.
They haven't won at home, you know, since the Cardinals defeated them. They had 50 wins when we were there a couple weeks ago, and they're still at 50 going into tonight's action.
Barry Weinberg checking on Albert. Ground ball, another tough play for Prado. He's going to have to hurry, and he gets Molina by a step. Gotti hustling all the way. David Freese a big hit. Albert an RBI. 2-0 Cardinals. First pitch grounded to the right side. The troops here at the ballpark. A nice round of applause between innings here, Al. And
Fort Leonard Wood. All these young men and women. And another military appreciation day here at the stadium. Nice to see. And I know you used to have a great time going to San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
And on a Sunday where you had the Marines on one side and the Navy on another.
How great was that?
Play the Marine hymn and Navy hymn, and each other would go crazy, and just nice that baseball recognizes our military.
Of course, we had our This One's For You not that long ago, where we were visiting with the troops in Afghanistan. You and Dan did a great job with that. But of course, this weekend is a Remembrance Weekend, September 11th tomorrow, and trying to make sure that we honor the first responders as well as those who have been responding for the last 10 years.
And the Cardinals are going to have 5,500 first responders, giving them tickets to help honor them tomorrow.
For call, strong arm, out number 2. And we also want to draw folks' attention to our Fox Sports Midwest website, where there'll be information about the Jack Buck poem. And now I know you remember that, the great poem that Jack recited. He wrote it on September 11th in the aftermath, and just kind of had a kind of sobering effect, but also kind of a powerful effect on Cardinal Nation.
Baseball was a big part of the healing process. And you know, Jack wrote that poem, and I was doing the game with Joe Buck, and I think we both had tears in our eyes. And you know, Jack at that time, you know, was really a bit unsteady with his Parkinson's disease, but that day he was stronger than ever getting that poem out. And one of those rare times that Albert, who ranges so far to his right, might have been easier for him just to give it to Punto, but look at his right ankle collapse there.
Just wonder if that has something to do with what he did coming out of the box. It just does not seem right. An infield hit for Jason Hayward.
Boy, who's keeping score today?
They're all hits.
I don't know why people don't hit 400 with this scoring.
No, you told me not to get you started, so I will not follow up on that.
That was other subjects.
Derek Lowe, pretty good hitting pitcher, 191. Hayward, the runner at first. He does have 7 stolen bases. He won't go here with the pitcher at the plate. And that pitch not even close. Hayward, second in the Rookie of the Year balloting last year. Garcia was third. Buster Posey, injured this year, the catcher for the San Francisco Giants.
Broke his leg, and Hayward having a down season. Jaime won 13 games last year, and he's trying to win his 12th here tonight. So the sophomore jinx has affected 1 and 2, but not Jaime.
Garcia 25 and 15 in his career. The 1-2. Really trying to pound that ball inside against the Braves here tonight.
Derek Lowe is 166 and 142.
Brewers have tied the game in Milwaukee 1-1. Phillies batting in the top of the third.
And you can talk about Derek Lowe having a 9-13 season mark. ERA at 4 3/4. But you know how much run support he's gotten? Well, he's in the game 2.2 runs per game.
He didn't help his cause there. Cardinals lead 2-0. For slumps, so between innings he drew up this nice little diagram, and Al, you did a great job with this.
I can see where the top 3 finishers in last year's Rookie of the Year balloting. Posey won it. He's got a broken leg out for the year. Hayward's been on the DL twice. His numbers have really dropped off, particularly in batting average. And Garcia got a chance. His ERA's up a bit, but he's got a chance for more victories than he had last year.
Hayward finding himself 8th in the batting order. That's a surprise for me.
Well, I kind of think that, you know, he's really hit under 200 against left-handed pitching, and you know, his numbers are down anyway. Better to be hitting 8th and staying in the lineup. There's our 8th place hitter, last night's hero.
And he misses on a bunt attempt.
Ricky, I know we were both down on the field, and I don't know if you saw Luis Salazar.
I did.
But that's great to see him at the ballpark.
That's what he did last night.
Last night it was for a game winner. Sac fly in the 10th inning to score at Holiday for the winning run.
And tonight it's out number 1 in the top of the 2nd.
But Luis Salazar was involved. He's Braves A-ball manager, but during spring training, Brian McCann got a pitch that was almost going to hit him, and he really turned on it and hit it into the Braves dugout, and it hit Luis Salazar in I believe it's the left eye, and he lost that eye, but was able to recover. He's managed the A-ball team again, and you know, he told me that he can do everything. He's wearing like safety glasses for precaution, but really is, you know, miraculous that he lost the eye, but can do everything and still doing his functions on a baseball diamond.
It's a scary moment. If I remember correctly, Kyle Loesch was on the mound when that happened, and the players weren't even sure whether they could continue or not. It was just such a kind of a horrific event. And Brian McCann just kind of waved at the next pitch and went and sat down and just didn't want to hit. I mean, just tough to get through, but great to see him back in uniform again, doing what he loves.
And Frank Wren, their Braves general manager, was telling me that they had about 6 top collegians from their 2010 draft on the high A-ball team. And he said those guys, you know, are really had tremendous years, really think that they'll be in Double-A and maybe the big league starting at the end of next year. I figured they were about 2 years away from another crop of really talented young players.
Just keep finding them, don't they? Rafael Furcal singled, stole second, and scored on Albert's base hit. Bruce Mano is the minor league farm director, and he used to have that position with the Cardinals. Was with the Brewers before that, some other ball clubs, but saw Bruce before the game. I don't know if you had a chance to see him, but he's doing a great job, and he has great eye for talent and for developing talent.
You can't really develop unless you get the players.
That's right.
You got to have some skill. There you see Bruce. Frank Wren is the general manager, and he was assistant to John Schuerholz, but he's been around for quite a while. You know, he's got the '97 ring from the Florida Marlins. He was with the Marlins, and I think maybe started out with Dombrowski.
1-2. This is low and away to Furcal. 2-2.
Still know there's an influence of Bobby Cox and John Schuerholz right there in sounding board.
One of the things I asked Bruce Mano about was the fact that they're not afraid to bring up these young players and kind of the push-pull of some of the Cardinal players you might want to see here. Shelby Miller and others. When's too soon to bring him up? The Braves just seem to kind of have a good knack for which young guy is ready mentally to be able to handle the big one.
And that's it. And I talked to Frank Wren about the same thing, and he said, well, we treat it on an individual basis. You know, obviously you don't want to bring somebody up before their time, but they would rather push an individual rather than, you know, leaving and get stagnant at a lower level where, you know, he's too good for that level. They'd rather have him be challenged.
Well, the comments we got today is you find a player who has talent and maybe there's that little thing they can't do. If you just keep them there, they're going to get stuck.
Right.
They'd rather you get them to the next level and try to develop. There's a gapper off the bat of Furcal. He hits this ball hard. One hops a right center field wall. A 2-out double for Rafael Furcal. He smoked that ball.
Well, they had him defensively. They played him around in the left center, and he plugged that big gap out there. But you know, he's had 7 home runs, 6 as a Cardinal, and he put a little charge in that one. He was such a good offensive player when he played for the Atlanta Braves. Injuries have kind of handicapped him the last several years, but we're seeing, you know, he's a guy that's playing for a contract next year. There's a $12 million plus option, and I think that's not going to be picked up, but he's liked playing here. Cardinals have liked what they've seen. Everyone's hopeful something can be worked out for next year.
John Jay. Successful sacrifice bunt in the first. Ground ball off the glove of Freeman. It's Ugla again with the pitcher covering, and this time it works. 3-4-1. Jay grounds out. 2-0 Cardinals. One pitch, 1 out. Underway here in the top of the 3rd inning. Al Raboski. I'm Rick Horton, and we're also joined by Jim Hayes here in the 3rd, as always. And Jim will supply plenty of interesting information about our favorite team, and certainly was a good win last night, Jim.
Nick Punto, you guys referenced it. Great at bat. Albert getting to a reliever who the Cards have had success against, but had been virtually unhittable of late. And after the game, they tore up Nick Punto's jersey. They gave him the shredder. Apparently it was a revenge shredding. I was curious, you guys with all your major league service, had you ever experienced a shredder?
Never been shredded. How about you, Al?
No, I don't think I've ever seen that, but
people are afraid to touch you, Al.
There was a reason for that. And Kyle McClellan, I said, what was the deal with that? And he said, well, there's a story to it, but I was afraid to ask what it was.
But you're never afraid,
Jim. Might reveal it.
Well, supposedly Nick, just out of the blue, will rip guys' shirts, so it was revenge shredding.
I got it.
The Braves absolutely not respecting that Jim Hayes is with us for the 3rd.
It's good for everyone.
Wow. How about that inning? We guess, and scored, and picked up an RBI in that 1st inning on a ground ball that got past Prado at 3rd. And the first pitch from Lowe is taken low and away for a ball. Jim Hayes had 3 pitches in the top of the 3rd.
I'm not speaking because I want Albert to have a couple of pitches to look at.
Okay. Now you can speak. 2-0. Albert
299
at 299 and climbing.
1 more RBIs at 88. He's already got 34 home runs to lead the National League. There you see, since the All-Star break, Ugly with 18 home runs, Albert 16. And Ugly's chasing him with 33 home runs.
Ground ball to third. Prado, and he is out at first base. Prado's been tested all night long. Albert smelled a hit there, but he's barely out. Prado getting the start. Chipper Jones getting the night off. Again, Prado being tested, but you have some thoughts on Chipper Jones as well.
Well, tomorrow on the pregame, we're going to, as you referenced, replay part of Jack Buck's speech that lifted the spirits of St. Louis and get Albert's reaction, Tony's remembrances, Mark McGuire's. But I was asking Chipper about playing at New York. The Braves were at New York right after 9/11, because that thing is in the gap.
Bourne has good speed, and he can't get it. It goes to the wall. Matt Holliday rounds second and stays there, and Michael Bourne laid out, disappointed, but that would have been some play.
Well, Michael Bourne, 2 Gold Gloves, and he has that phenomenal speed and a great ability to close the gap. So he got close to this ball, and Diaz going to back him up, so it was worth the try. It's a team lead. You see Michael Bourne, the competitor he is, just off the top of the tip of his glove, and he wanted it. He was thinking he was going to be able to make that great play. Hyundai brought you that replay, and Holliday, that is his 35th double. That leads the team.
Well, Ball 1 to Lance Berkman.
Chipper was talking about, you know, Al, you were referencing earlier about baseball really helping get the country back on track. And he said when they were at the Mets and starting up baseball, no one wanted to play. He said people were scared. He said every baseball player, that thing's ripped up the line.
Berkman into the corner. Holliday will score, and it's 3-0 Cardinals.
See, here where I talk, it is good.
Keep talking.
Keep on hitting, Redbirds.
Fans don't mind.
85 RBIs now for Berkman. Love to see that back-to-back doubles. Hard to defense this one. Right inside the first base bag, down into the corner. Just narrowly missing that side wall. So Hayward played that perfectly.
So Jim, finish your story as David Freese hits a gap.
Yeah, we're gonna help David here. So Chipper was telling me no one wanted to play. He wouldn't let his family come to New York because they were afraid of possibly another attack. And he said every airplane that came over from LaGuardia, every player in the stadium was watching because everyone was scared. And he said as the game went on, there was a sense of normalcy. Mike Piazza ended it with a home run, and he said at that moment he realized things were going to be okay. He said it's the only time in his career he was happy about losing. He felt like it was the right thing for New York.
Kind of carried over in the World Series too. You know, the Yankees were, I guess you either love them or hate them, but I think everyone was pulling for New York. The Yankees were benefiting from that.
We're going to have Chipper's thoughts on the pregame show tomorrow, and if you want to see the Jack Buck feature, that's on FoxSportsMidwest.com.
2-2 to David Freese. Cardinals have already picked up 1 extra run here in the 3rd inning. They lead 3-0 against Derek Lowe. Fouled at the plate. Missouri Lottery is bringing us Fox Tracks here in this half inning. Derek Lowe working hard. Cardinals not fooled very much by him yet, though. Al, 7 hits already in 2+ innings.
Kind of goes about when we showed that graphic, 1-7, the high ERA, and
the high hits.
All those hits, 73 in less than 50 innings. That was coming in.
Berkman, a runner at second. Barely gets a piece. David Freese average at an even 300.
He's already set career highs in home runs and RBIs. Picked up another ribby here tonight. He's at 47 and 9 home runs. Of course, he's never played a full season with serious injuries that have handicapped him. 54 games this year with a broken hand, and 3 more with or 51 with the broken hand and 3 more with a concussion.
As good a season as he's having, he told me he doesn't believe he'll be accepted as an everyday player until he does it every day through an entire healthy season. He says he still thinks he has a lot to prove.
Ball third strike. That one catches the outside corner. If you have a question for any of us, go to carsoup.com/Cardinals. Send us your email to booth questions. We'll be glad to check those out. Do our best to answer them for you. 2 outs in the Cardinals' third. They lead 3-0. Brings in Yadier Molina. And we've been talking, guys, and I'll go to you, Jim, a lot about the young star players for the Braves, the young pitchers that are doing such a nice job. But we've got some pretty good arms in our bullpen as well. Lance Lynn certainly has showed himself well. Eduardo Sanchez. Any updates on either of those 2 guys, and if and when we'll see them again?
There's a chance we could see Sanchez at some point. With Lance Lynn, it's not going to happen. I asked Lance, because he was put on the 60-day deal with the oblique, and I asked him, does he consider himself a bullpen guy? Because he had a short stint, but he had so much success, and you get the sense he still considers himself a starter. Happy that he can do both now. But he says what he learned coming out of the bullpen is that he can cut it loose and be effective. And he thinks if he took that into his role as a starting pitcher, he'd be that much more effective. And he says it is doable once you learn how to prepare, because the velocity was better. It seemed like he had more movement. Seems like he was just throwing a little bit more free and easy and not thinking as much or trying to conserve anything.
Seemed like his easiest path would be as a reliever. You know, as a starting rotation is pretty well set for next year, barring a trade. And I think the Cardinals, they're disappointed that they can't see Lance Lynn, late this season in a closer's role.
I know that they're very excited about that possibility. And Lynn, of course, with the caveat, I'll do anything they want me to do.
Sure.
But I think it's tough to get away from that mindset of I'm a starting pitcher, because that's what I've been doing.
And Ricky, you've kind of been a swing man. You've started. You've been that long reliever. Spot starter. If you have a defined role in the bullpen, there's nothing better, because you come to the ballpark every day knowing you got a chance to pitch.
Absolutely. Base hit up the middle. Molina. Berkman rounds third. No play at the plate. RBI number 54 for Yachty, and it's 4-0 Cardinals.
Now they're 2 out. RBI for the Cardinals. Of course, Lance Berkman, there's 2 outs, so you just put your head down and you run. Do everything you can across that plate. And of course, he also knows that ball going up the middle, Michael Bourne's throwing on him, as they were teammates in Houston.
There goes Molina, and he is going to steal second base easily.
The only way he wasn't going to get a steal is if that ball hit Punto.
Stolen base number 4 for Yadier Molina, and we were just talking, Al, about the Cardinal all-time stolen base leader from the catcher's position, and it's a 3-way tie.
Well, I know McCarver, Pagnazzi,
And Yadier Molina.
Yadier Molina.
All three of them at 9.
Yeah, the funny thing was when Padge was playing and he got to 9 and he tried to steal about 5 or 6 times and got thrown out every time. But did you see the jump that Molina had? Watch this. You talk about stealing off a pitcher. Look at that lead.
Hasn't let the ball go yet, and it's halfway. He's halfway to second base.
Who's the fastest catcher you ever saw?
Eli Morel.
Good call.
John Watson was he was a backup catcher, but he played a lot of positions and he could run. There's been a few over the years.
Garcia bounces out after an intentional walk to Punto. The Cardinals tally 2 more. Always good to have Jim Hayes with us. 4-0 Cardinals. Find it at foxsportsmidwest.com. Beautiful night. Light starting to take effect here. Been all Cardinals so far. Jaime Garcia enjoying a 4-0 lead. Cardinals have out hit the Braves 8-3, and Garcia with 2 shutouts under his belt this year, hoping to become a 12-game winner.
Very impressed with first 2 men reaching that ball game. Kept his composure, kept them off the scoreboard, and a lot of ground balls.
Can't classify that as a ground ball. Hard hit base hit up the middle by Dan Ugla. That's his first hit of the series. You may have some great seats in the ballpark, but have you seen the view from the dugout yet? You can experience it by taking a tour of Busch Stadium. They're great tours. For more information, visit cardinals.com/tours. Wonderful folks know a lot of details about this ballpark. Busch Stadium 3, it's known as. Just Busch Stadium, if you'd like. Matt Diaz bounced out to end the first. The Braves had rallied in that first inning. A couple of hits to lead this game off. Garcia under stress right away, but Diaz bounced out to David Freese to end that inning. He had hit Garcia, or has hit Garcia well in his career, 3 for 7 now.
Diaz has been a premier pinch hitter in his career, but even to be a pinch hitter, you got to have a few games where you get 4 bats to stay healthy, and he's always hit lefties well.
Garcia with a 3.22 earned run average before the All-Star game. And he's been a bit over 4.5 since the All-Star game. And you have to throw in a pretty high number along with those stats, but just hasn't quite been as consistent. There's a ground ball he wanted, but it's foul. The high number we're talking about is that game in Colorado. That was hard to watch, Al.
Thank goodness I didn't watch it. I did watch it from home, but you were doing the game. There you see those numbers. Got off to the great start, particularly at home. Home numbers are much better than road numbers, and they're a bit skewed by that game in Colorado.
Swing and a miss. Wild swing there by Diaz. Kind of a defensive swing.
Well, he keeps the ball down. He gets tremendous movement.
And it produces swings just like that. That's strikeout number 3 for Garcia. Has not walked a batter. Freddie Freeman. 150 hits as a Braves rookie.
That's a record. Beat Ron Gantz, and now he's chasing Ron Gant in extra base hits. Tremendous power to all fields.
And he's just 21 years of age. Big guy with a big swing. We asked our good friend Mr. Carey, does the games with the Atlanta Braves, about Freeman. Is he a gap power guy or is he a power guy? And he said he's got power. There's no doubt about it.
Like
and
this.
There's some of it right there. Deep center field, and this ball is gone. A home run to left center field for Freddie Freeman, his 19th of the season. And the Cardinal lead is cut in half.
70 RBIs. Freeman, one of the leading candidates. See what he does, the lower body gets on that front toe and then he just turns on that ball. And he can hit it to the opposite field, as we said, and then he just proves it. Garcia usually does not give up extra base hits to left-handed batters. Carlos Gomez got him this year, and now Freddie Freeman from the left side.
Left-handers are 3 for 7 against Garcia here in this game. 3 of the 5 Braves hits.
Allowed 11 extra base hits to left-handed hitters. That's only the second home run.
He gets Prado to bounce out for out number 2. Not entirely sure, Al, and be interested in how you would evaluate his approach to left-handers. I'm not exactly sure what his attack method is to left-handed hitters. Early on it seemed pretty clear, the curveball, and he throws some cutters, but just not sure what he's trying to do with left-handers right now.
Good point. And of course, in my mind, for the most part, he's got to be listening to Molina.
Right.
You do have the right to shake off the pitch if you aren't comfortable with it, but it seems like they're always pretty much on the same page. There it looks like that Molina won that ball outside and he threw it on the inside part of the plate for a strike. A lot of time home runs are error in location.
There's a sinker down and in, 1-1. Now the setup, natural pitch from here, Al, would be what?
Well, they'd throw the slider away or the curveball. That the overhand curveball or the slider, sweeper away. Walking inside, look out.
Produces a ground ball. He jams him a bit. Retires Hayward. But the Braves strike. A couple of runs. Freddie Freeman goes deep. 4-2 Cardinals. Furcal swings on the run, trying to slap it past Prado. There's a strike on the outside corner. 1-2 to Furcal. Furcal singled in the first, doubled in the second.
Can we see a triple now?
We shall see. Furcal still his 300th career base in the first inning. And has played a nice shortstop again tonight. Getting to the point where when the ball is hit to short, Al, you stop worrying about it. You just think, oh, that's an out. Or you agree?
Yes.
Isn't that a nice feeling if you're a pitcher?
Oh, no doubt. And much more range than we had been seeing.
Strikeout number 4 for Derek Lowe. The Raja. Rogers Hornsby. Jay Randolph did a great piece on him in our pregame. 2,930 career hits. Batting average not too shabby.
358 is second highest all time to Ty Cobb. 3 years he hit over 400. And of course, you notice his number on the left field wall. He doesn't have a number. He didn't have numbers back then. What, 96 years ago, Hornsby made his debut. He got the STL, but no number because they didn't wear them.
Young baseball fans don't know a lot about Rogers Hornsby. Be a great guy to Google and learn a little bit about the history of Cardinal baseball before Brock and Gibson and Roboski.
And really, Hornsby considered maybe the greatest right-handed batter of all time.
Agreed. Jay strikes out.
Friedman got him back in this ball game, and now Derek Lowe acts like he wants to settle down and pitch a game of it.
A couple of strikeouts here to start the fourth inning. Albert Pujols has singled and bounced out. And he did pick up RBI number 88. And Albert looks comfortable against Derek Lowe. Despite what, I'm not sure what we'd say he did, but if he turned his ankle or maybe had a misstep, Al, coming out of the box early on. But the good news is he's stayed in and he seems fine.
And defensively, his right ankle rolled over on him one time trying to field the ball.
0-2 here. Freeman backhands it. Balloons high above the ballpark. Trivia question: who has the highest career average in Major League Baseball history as a switch hitter? 1, 2, 3. Told you we get 3 seconds to answer.
Yep, Frankie Frisch, 316.
A couple of good switch hitters here at the ballpark. Chipper Jones, Lance Berkman. Big numbers. You look at the all-time switch hitters, those two are up among the best. 452 career home runs for Chipper Jones. Berkman is fourth. Both have been very, very steady players. Fly ball to right. Handled by Berkman. Out number 1. Frankie Frisch is another one of those Cardinals, along with Rogers Hornsby, who we don't talk about a lot. But Frankie Frisch was the manager for the Cardinals. He was the MVP in 1931. And just outstanding numbers. Another good guy to Google. Find out all you can about Frankie Frisch. You want to know your Cardinal history.
While you're at it, we'll get my buddy, Ducky Medwick.
There's another one.
Last National Leaguer to win the Triple Crown. That was back in 1937.
Jim Bottomley, Johnny Mize.
Oh, sure. Big Cat. Gentleman Jim. You know, Ducky Medwick was the minor league hitting coach when I joined the Cardinals minor league system. And I believe he could still hit then. His legs were gone, but he could sit in a chair and swing a bat, and he'd still hit 300. Just listen to it.
Another base hit for Michael Bourne, and Garcia's had his trouble with left-handers. 2 hits for Bourne. Every Sunday during the 2 hours prior to the Cardinal games, we've been doing this since Ducky Medwick and Frankie Frisch. You can enjoy free frozen treats and win full prizes, fun prizes, in the Ford Plaza, courtesy of North Star. For ticket information, visit Cardinals.com.
There's Jim Edmonds, Allison. There's Sutton and Landon.
There goes Bourne. From his knees, Molina, he's safe. What a throw from Molina. He had no chance to get him, and he almost got him.
If you have a strong and accurate arm, sometimes throwing from your knees is that much quicker. Like you see how he just falls forward. He's got the arm strength. Bourne awfully good. And you have to believe that he stole that off of Jaime.
52 stolen bases for Bourne. The Cardinals have 45.
We're catching up.
We better hurry.
Yeah.
0-2 to Jack Wilson. Nice to see Jim Edmonds at the ballpark. So many former players come by and visit. We saw Kenny Reitz earlier. Andy Cox, Ken Daly at the ballpark tonight.
Jim sitting in Jerry Clinton's seats, and I need to give Jerry a call and see how he's doing.
Garcia set, 1-2, grounded foul. Swing and a miss. And that must have been a foul ball off the bat of Jack Wilson.
I think it was. Milwaukee had taken a 2-1 lead over Philadelphia. Now Philly's tied at 2-2. They're in the bottom of the fifth.
59 pitches for Garcia. For call. Al and I aren't worried about it. He's out.
And the Atlanta Braves went out and got Michael Bourne. They gave up a lot of prospects to get him, but they realized they needed some speed. And they got one of the best. Also get a really solid defender, two-time Gold Glove winner.
Hunter Pence went from the Astros to the Phillies to make them even better.
Right. And boy, finished the season with Houston. And at that time, we have no idea who's going to be playing.
Well, we know they'll show up.
They'll show up.
Last road trip of the season, the Cardinals, including today, 8 home games left, 10 road contests, including games in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and then the Astros games you're talking about, Al. So 18 games left on the schedule, including today. And there's a base hit inside the bag at first. And this is going to score another Braves run easily. Michael Bourne heads home. And it's 4-3 Cardinals. And again, Jaime Garcia not very effective against left-handers.
It's not an uncommon practice for left-handed starters to have better success against right-handed hitters. Ball right in the middle of the plate, and always say lefty-righty matchups are overblown, because if you make a good pitch, you got a chance to get any hitter out. You make a careless pitch, a bad location, any hitter's has a chance to hurt you.
And the value of the speed there too, Al. If he doesn't steal first with that ball hitting off of that right field wall, maybe Bourne can't score from first base. I mean, if anybody
if he's
can't,
on first,
he
he goes probably is on third. You know, first and third there, but the steal, and you saw the great effort by Molina. You have to say the jump was the difference off the pitcher.
We always talk about manufacturing runs, and usually you're thinking about hitting the ball the other way or bunting a guy over, but part of the way to manufacture a run is steal a base.
Steal a base. Which, as you said, with the Cardinals, with 45 steals. Just don't manufacture enough.
30th in all of baseball.
And we haven't seen that many hit and runs. There have been times where Tony was, way up towards the top, and using the hit and run. I wouldn't say those numbers would bear that out this year.
Swing and a miss. Garcia retires Ugla, but he gives up another tally here in the 5th. Braves getting closer. Cardinals lead by 1. 30-plus home runs in their first season with the team. Braves have a couple of more than the Cardinals do. 3 of these guys at the ballpark here tonight.
Hey, you see Davy Johnson back there in '73, but that year the Atlanta Braves had 3 players, including Davy Johnson, but Hank Aaron and Darrell Evans, they all were at 40. And Dusty Baker had 21. Big offensive team, but you knew they were going to score, but you knew you had a real good shot that you were going to outscore them.
Now that's a big 3.
Their pitching wasn't that great, so you knew it was going to be a 6-5 type game.
We may be headed towards one of those kind of games. 4-3 Cardinals now.
You mentioned Kenny Reitz a little while ago. He came up here because he's at a wedding reception right now.
Right now?
Yep. He left here to go back to the wedding reception. And he wanted, as Derek Lowe has really settled in, that's his 6th strikeout. Second time he got Holiday.
What's on tap? Brought to you by Budweiser. Tomorrow, the finale against the Atlanta Braves. Hudson and Westbrook. Hudson, 14 wins on the season. Another outstanding season for him. Coverage begins at 12:30 on Fox Sports Midwest.
I want to send our best wedding wishes to formerly Ashley Nicole Creer, who married today Eric Richard Hart. Ashley's father was the AD at Lindenwood College, and Eric shared the Athlete of the Year honors with Jeremy Macklin, St. Charles West, when he was in high school. So it's Ashley and Eric Hart. Congratulations on their wedding today.
Line drive foul. Aubrey Helling, 4 weeks from today, getting married. Mike Helling, our producer.
Mike Helling says he's going to spend $150,000 on the wedding. And then wait till you see the gift he got him.
I can't wait. We probably shouldn't divulge it on the air, right? Lifetime pass to come watch Cardinal games in the truck.
Berkman can get some walks, can he?
Number 81 on the season for Lance. That's why his RBI or his on base percentage, excuse me, is so high every year.
Correct. He's got 81 walks and 83 strikeouts, so hopefully he can get more walks than strikeouts this year.
David Freese doubled in the first, struck out looking in the third. And while we're on the subject of marriage, Keith Olbermann is also engaged.
Our Keith Olbermann.
Our Keith Olbermann. Keith Corn Olbermann.
And his fiancee is Ashley. Rebecca Bowerman. Boy, is she going to be in for a rude awakening.
Oh, boy. We need to talk to her. 1-2 to David Freese. Cardinals better be careful or they're going to see the Braves go past them. They had a 4-0 lead, 2 runs in the first, 2 in the third. Atlanta picked up a couple in the fourth inning thanks to Freddie Freeman and his power, and another run in the fifth. Cardinals need to start getting those runs back.
They're going to score this inning. It's an odd inning. First, third, fifth.
Low worried about Lance Berkman and his 0 for 5 stolen bases for some reason.
Eric Lowe this season is not pitched in the 8th or 9th inning all year long. He will take the ball every 5th day. There's no doubt about that. Been doing that for quite a while.
Fly ball down the right field line into the corner. Hayward over and can't make the play. So Al, would you rather have a guy that answers the bell every 5th day and goes 5 innings, or a guy that makes 7 out of 10 starts but can go into the 8th or the 9th?
I'll probably have to say 7 out of 10 starts. You know, he has, with 3 innings here tonight, he's gone over the 2,500 innings in his career. He's never been on the disabled list. Ranked 6th among active pitchers in innings pitched, and has made at least 30 starts in each of the last 10 seasons. And his win total of 146 since 2002 ranks 3rd most in the major leagues, but behind Halladay 168 and CC Sabathia's 159.
Good names on that list. Two and two to David Freese. Ground ball to the left side. Wilson, the second for one and on to first. And the Cardinals have hit into their 155th double play. This is Maury Wills. A couple of stolen bases. 104 and 105. The single season record was broken on that day, even though the Cardinals lost. Lou Brock had a chance to see him at the ballpark here last night.
Sure, he's been here the last 2 nights, but remembering that night, it was getaway day. The Cardinals were going to leave after that game and go to New York. Lou, they actually stopped the game and had almost a 20-minute ceremony. Completed the game, and then by the time Lou got through with all the press conference, we were late leaving St. Louis, got into New York about 5:30 in the morning. Then the next night in New York, Cardinals were trailing a couple runs in the 9th inning. Kenny Reitz hit a home run to tie it up, and we went on to play 25 innings of baseball, and there was no scoring from the 9th inning to the 25th inning.
Past Albert into right field. Freeman with his second hit. And again, the left-handers are seeing the ball so well against Garcia.
And you know what? I mean, he came in with tonight's action all season long, only allowing 10 extra base hits to a left-handed batter and only 1 home run. But you're right, absolutely right. Keeps on missing. You know, he's You know, there you go, a ball that's on the inner part of the plate. Hyundai brings this, shows you how close Albert gets to it. He even looks cautious and awkward going after that ball. I think, you know, like you said, that leg is, whether it's the ankle or whatever's bothering him, is, you know, he's not going to come out of the game. He's going to stay out there, and at 70%, he's still better than anybody else. And in that 25-inning game, I pitched 9, 10, 11. I think Mike Garman came in for how many innings? And then Claude Osteen pitched 9 1/3 shutout innings in relief and got a no decision. St. Louis and Sonny Siebert turned a double play ball, and the Mets tried to pick off Bake McBride at first base, and a wild pickoff throw went down in the right field corner, and he ran through a stop sign and scored the winning run.
He was tired.
I don't think he was running so fast. I don't think he could have stopped him. He was tired. He wanted to end that game. And then Claude went back out to the bottom of the 25th, got the first out, and then got in a little trouble. And Sonny Siebert came in and picked up the. He must have got out in the 24th because Sonny got the win. How about that 9 1/3 shutout innings and get nothing to show for it?
Helps your ERA, but
yep.
Bake McBride, another great Cardinal name, or another name that brings back a lot of memories, I should say.
Oh,
and
man.
Many of the guys who played with him talk about him being as fast as anybody.
Absolutely. I mean, in some ways, I mean, they different personality and different. He's different in many ways, but from a baseball standpoint, he was the first Willie McGee. You know, had that type of speed and
electric.
Very much so.
6 of the 8 Atlanta Braves hits have come off left-handed batters.
Just don't think Jaime's put the ball where he wanted it against lefties.
There's a ground ball to third, and not played by Freese, but on the second base from Furcal, and they get the lead runner. Good reaction by Rafael Furcal as Freese booted it right to him. 5-6-4, fielder's choice.
Well, and don't forget the contribution from Punto. So off the glove here, kicks over towards Furcal, quickly gets it to Punto. It's a little bit to the outfield side, and Punto, who's not very tall, does everything he can to stay on the bag and get the force out. He really can play some defense at any position.
Jason Hayward, another left-handed batter. He has one hit, and he bounced out. One more look at that play. There's Punto just hanging on. Yeah, he didn't have much more to stretch with, did he?
No, he did not.
You know, I wonder with Garcia, Al, is, you know, you think about where his ball has the most movement and the most action is down and away to a right-handed batter. Some left-handed pitchers are afraid to throw that pitch to left-handed hitters because they think that's the pitch they mash. So you take your best pitch away. Maybe he's trying to throw fastballs up too much, and they're straightening out.
There's an indication of what you're talking about right there. That ball down and in, which a lot of times in the wheelhouse of the left hand. That's why there are a high degree of left-handed pitchers that have more success retiring right-handed batters than they do lefties. And there have been guys, Randy Jones was one, and you loaded up left-handed hitting lineup against him.
Ground ball to Punto. To Albert. Garcia strands one more. 4-3 Cardinals.
There's Jim Edmonds with his daughter Sutton. Had Jimmy and Allison on the kiss cam.
I did not notice that. I heard the big cheer. Wasn't sure whether
the cheer was for a wedding proposal.
Oh, I hope it did not go awry.
She said yes.
Good for her.
That's
good
why
for
the
him.
cheer.
Ugla battles it a bit, throws out Molina.
I was talking with general manager of the Braves, Frank Wren, about Ugla's defense. And he has committed 15 errors, but they are very, very pleased with his defense and agree with you, Rick, that his reputation of being a poor defender is not accurate. And, you know, he said even with the darkest times with his problems offensively, he never got down on himself. He just kept the same attitude, and they're really pleased that he pulled out of it.
And there's no question he had a rough day in that All-Star game. I mean, he was booting everything, and he had that look. He had kind of the scared eyes look, like, please don't hit the ball to me, and he got kind of jumpy. And so I think anybody that watched that All-Star game might come to that conclusion.
Kind of like the day that Lasorda asked Pedro Guerrero, playing third base, you know, what do you think about when the ball's, you know, when pitcher's getting ready to throw the ball? He goes, please don't hit it to me. And he told him that's wrong. What else do you think about it? Don't hit it to sacks either.
That's right.
It's not really the way you want to think about it.
No, there's some truth to that, though. He played with both of those guys.
But we all know that, you know, one of those days it's just not going your way, and you just fear the ball being hit to you, and the baseball gods will hit it to you every time.
And we make a lot of it, Al, but when you're out there pitching, if you're Derek Lowe, a sinker ball pitcher, you've got to have the confidence to say, you know what, I don't care where you hit it on the infield, my guys are going to catch it. And when you've got Dal Maxfield playing short, or you've got Ozzie Smith playing short, you've got Pendleton playing third, hey, hit it to anybody. I don't care.
No doubt about it.
Kenny Reitz.
Boy, I mean, I love Kenny Reitz's. Every time he sees Mike Schmidt, he goes, hey, Mike, how do my gold gloves look on your mantle?
Right.
Kenny could pick it. So could Pendleton.
Ken Oberkfell.
Sure. Yeah, and Tommy Herr with Hernandez. Good defense can make a world of difference, you know, on a pitching staff. Alan Craig is on deck, so it looks like they're going to pinch hit for Repchinski. Throwing in the bullpen there, you see Allen. Boy, he almost took off Venter's head last night.
Sure did.
Right by his ear. But Jaime Garcia, 4-3 lead, hanging on for his 12th victory.
Only has 74 pitches. Out number 2. Are you hitting the road? Take the Cardinals with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Blackout restrictions do apply. Visit Cardinals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv. It's baseball everywhere. Pleased to meet Alan Craig's father, who's here at the ballpark tonight. His father, Ron, has some relatives in Southern Illinois. Really, the Craig family roots are Southern Illinois. A lot of Cardinal fans in the extended family of Alan Craig before moving out west. He and Alan's mom try to get to as many games as they can. Very proud of their son, as they should be. And particularly proud of the fact that he is one of the very few major league players that has a college degree.
It's a lot more than in my day.
17. That's all there is.
In all of baseball?
In all of baseball.
How about here? Another base hit for Alan Craig. Tell you what, the Cardinals really want to see him on an everyday basis, see what he could do offensively. He missed 54 games with a fractured kneecap, but he can hit. And base hit up the middle last night. Here's another line drive off the bat of Alan Craig.
Dad's had a good trip.
And Green is going to pinch run. Let's see if he steals tonight.
Has a nice lead, doesn't go. Would have been a good pitch to run on.
Yep, down in, real tough play for McCann.
I'm not sure he was ready to steal on that.
Yeah, I think you're right, but he had a much bigger lead than we saw last night. Same scenario, did not run, and was basically wasted. Comfortably back.
Yeah, comfortable for who? "74 pitches, 53 strikes" from Garcia. There goes Green. Takes the pitch. The throw from McCann. Not in time, and Al and I are happy.
Yes, we are. Leads the ball club before that steal. It's number 10. He had about 18 at AAA this year, but Chambers was the team leader at 22.
Hey, let's catch Michael Bourne.
I don't think he's going to catch Michael Bourne, but isn't it nice
No, I mean
to see?
us. Collectively.
Collectively, you mean the team?
The team.
The team. Well, we're chasing them.
We're about 8 behind.
46 now as a team for the Cardinals. 10 for Tyler Green.
Manufacturing a run possibility for Rafael Furcal now that Green is in scoring position. Cardinals batting in the 6th.
At least pull the ball and get him over to third base. 2 outs, but drive him in would be better.
Furcal already has 2 hits. 3-1 count. Fly ball to center. Gold Glover there. Stolen base for Tyler Green. Crowning of the hit king. 41-92 traces Pete Rose's rise as one of baseball's greatest and most controversial stars, from his first at bat to the immortal September evening where history was made. 41-92, the crowning of the hit king, Monday night after Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Our Mid-America Chevy dealers call to the bullpen. The left-hander has been very effective since coming over in the Rasmus deal. That'll be Scrabble, better known as Mark Zepchinski.
He's had a good season, and last night he appeared. It was his 4th consecutive scoreless frame. He's held lefties to a 174 batting average, 16 for 92 with just 4 extra base hits, 1 home run this year. Both starters are out of the game now, as Brooks Conrad will pinch hit for their starter.
One of 3 switch hitters on the bench for Freddie Gonzalez here tonight. Brooks Conrad, 13 pinch hits this year.
That patch on the left sleeve is for Ernie Johnson Sr., who was a longtime broadcaster for the Braves. Actually was a relief pitcher for him, and he passed away this spring. So commemorative to his involvement with the Braves for so many years, they have that patch.
Three and one now to Conrad. Baseball does its best, Al, to do a good job of remembering the people of the past heroes of the particular ball club. Ground ball to the left side for Call, eats it up.
I don't know, probably was close to 30 years ago. You used to always look at the obituaries in the back of the Sporting News. Started saying, well, hey, that guy was a coach when I was in the big leagues. This guy here, this guy was a player. Stop looking. Too many now.
We sure do. We talk about heroes. We really need to take a look at the guys who are the real heroes. Yeah, baseball players.
We use that. There's your heroes.
That's exactly right.
And tomorrow we'll see some more heroes as 5,500 First responders will be at the ballpark, and the Cardinals will honor them. But those young, just to think about it, we've been at war for 10 years, and those young men and women keep on volunteering, all volunteer force, and they keep on showing why our country is so great.
The players that young people root for and maybe idolize and wear on their back, they're heroes in quotations. They're not heroes with a capital H.
No. This is still a little boy's game. There's a hero. Sergeant in St. Louis's finest.
Zepchinski bounces off the mound. Goes out Bourne. That's how you get a lefty out.
I like that. I like watching him pitch. I believe he's only 25 years of age, and he can fulfill so many different roles. And I think right now, as Arthur Rhodes has been roughed up last few games, that they like to use him in multiple innings, but because they're going to need him on a daily basis, they really can't afford to pitch him too long in a game. You want to have him fresh for tomorrow.
There's good sinking action on his fastball. Base hit up the middle. Zach Wilson just pokes it into center field. That's his second hit. Brings in Brian McCann.
That's Salas warming up in case it gets extended.
Our carsoup.com email the booth question.
John from the Ozark, Illinois. Do former players have lifetime free access to the stadium at home games? It's very interesting. If you have at 8 years in the big leagues, you get a lifetime pass that will allow you to go into any major league, minor league ballpark and bring a guest. But the Cardinals have instituted a program because we have so many alumni here. Now, those aren't the freebie seats, but the Cardinals have extended it to, what is it, 70, you think?
Around 70 local former Cardinal players, and I'm going to be a little liberal about what local is, but the greater St. Louis area and the Missouri, Southern Illinois area, there are approximately 70 alumni in the region have decided to stay close to their roots in St. Louis.
And the Cardinals allow them to come into games and have free access, and then on a couple times a year they'll get a party suite and put them all together. Very thoughtful of the Cardinals. But the Cardinals have a very active alumni association. I know the Braves do also. But if you need any alumni players, contact Martin Coco from the Cardinals.
Does a nice job of bringing players to the ballpark in mass a couple of times a year. Have a nice little party. I never get to quite go to those, and my family does, but I don't get to see all the former friends, and not former friends, former teammates, current friends. They'll always be friends.
The thing that most players miss is the camaraderie. You get out of the game, you kind of miss that locker room. That's why, the fantasy camps have become such a successful venue, because, the players, the former former major leaguers that are there as legends, have more fun, seeing their former teammates, and it's almost like the camper comes in and said, well, if they're having fun, why shouldn't I?
We had such a good time. Every year we have a good time. Foul ball. You and Dan and I all had the opportunity of being there this past year, and Dan was with me when we watched Ozzie Smith take some ground balls and teach kind of a small group of the campers that were kind of the VIP campers, and he just was really fun and outstanding, very instructive, and all three of us just came away there thinking that, how can you have more fun than what we just did? And you, Al, started this from the Cardinals' point of view, and you deserve a lot of credit.
Well, but that's what deserves credit is the people that took a chance to come to it, you know, they handpicked the kind of the players that you knew that would be fan friendly and knew how to treat the fans with respect. You know, it's a great time, and you've carried on that tradition. But you know, it's being able to play isn't the most necessary function.
No,
it can help, but
no.
It's not part of having the fun.
1-2 to Brian McCann. Here's a good pitch at the knees. Zepchinski strikes out Brian McCann looking. Time to stretch in St. Louis. Redbirds by 1. 4-3 Cardinals, each team with 9 hits. We've had our stretch. Some Atlanta Braves fans may be getting a little nervous about this wild card lead. Our Chevy called the bullpen, which has not been very good, Al, against us this season.
They've been great all season long, but they've struggled against the Cardinals. 0 for 4 in save opportunities, much higher ERA. This young right-hander, we have never seen, Anthony Barbaro. He was claimed by the Braves off of waivers from Seattle January 13th of this year.
Oh, 2 to John Jay. John Jay 0 for 2, his sacrifice bunt. Very helpful part of the Cardinals' 2-run first inning. The numbers on Barbaro.
Spent the majority of the year at AAA, and his second recall came this September. First came up the end of July. Atlanta now has their AAA team that's really in the suburbs of Atlanta, Gwinnett County.
Save on travel.
Definitely save on travel and going up and down, or even from the executives to go watch it.
Yeah, that's another point. You can scout them better. You can get a better understanding of kind of developing an Atlanta style, and the Atlanta style is a little bit like the Cardinal style, has a lot of tradition to it, especially the last 20 years. The Braves had a lot of losing years for a while, but they've really come on under, at first, John Schierholtz and now Frank Wren.
Along those lines, when I first went to Atlanta, and that was back in 1980, I felt like the major leagues and the minor leagues kind of worked against each other. But now they're all on the same page the way it should be.
Off-speed pitch, grounded to Freeman. Flips to Barbaro. Retire John Jay, out number 1. And that brings in Albert Pujols. Pujols 1 for 3. Sitting at 298. And if my pregame math is correct, the base hit here puts him at 299, not 300. But I'm pretty sure he's not worried, Al. I think he thinks he's going to get to 300 before it's over.
Right. First time up, he got a base hit and moved his average up to 299. And then he's been 0 for 2 since that time.
That line drive, a good example of why Jose Oquendo is about 60 feet away from where he's supposed to be in the coaching box down the third base line.
Great hands at one time, but Mother Nature's it's taking a toll. So
he talked to Albert enough. He doesn't need to be that close to him right now.
Right.
Not while he's hitting. I don't blame him. Popped up on the right side.
Jammed him a little bit. Uggla makes the play. First time you see a pitcher, an advantage in my mind is always to the pitcher. He knows what he wants to throw, and even if his strengths match up against your strengths, he still should go with it. But a hitter is trying to guess, trying to figure out what his pitches are, what it does, what it looks like. Sure, Dotel will come in to pitch. We got a couple right-handers coming up, so you would think that Dotel, who's warming up now. Oh no, it's Salas.
Two to two in the eighth in Milwaukee, the Phillies and the Brewers.
That was Cliff Lee against Randy Wolf, the two starters. Randy Wolf's pitched some big games recently.
Sure has. Holiday doesn't like that call. Not a lot of complaints from this umpiring crew in this series thus far.
And we thought that Mike Everett, last night's home plate umpire, had a very good game.
Agreed.
There were a lot of walks by the Atlanta Braves, but they were earned.
There's a call, third strike.
Good pitch.
On to the eighth. 6 more outs for the Redbirds. Plenty of good items at the Cardinals store. Fans want to watch this game, however. It's a close one, 4-3.
Little venues right behind home plate. Down on the main concourse.
Let's go buy me something, Al.
How about a victory?
I would prefer that. 6 outs away. Fernando Salas, the third Cardinal pitcher of the night, facing Dan Uggla, who's 1 for 3. Salas has had a nice season.
So leads the ball club in saves. 244. Strikeout per inning. Home runs are a little bit high.
Only real number that's been a problem for him.
He's had 3 walk-off home runs. He's pitched up there.
Nice crowd here. On hand, 40,689. Cardinals need this victory. Swing and a miss at an off-speed pitch. He strikes out Uggla, and that is strikeout number 138 on the season. The third time here tonight for Uggla.
He's got 3 tonight. It's 138, right? Pinsky will pinch hit here now for Diaz. Holiday leads the Cardinals in strikeouts with his 3 tonight, up to 90.
Power hitter strikes out 100 times, that's okay.
Sure.
150, that's too many.
Well, today's standards better get used to it. That's why I say Reggie Jackson's biggest contribution to the game is he glorified the strikeout.
Absolutely. Babe Ruth did that a bit too, but
like you said, the production, you could live with it.
Right. When you're hitting more home runs than most of the teams in your league. Swing away, big boy. Got the wave going here at Busch Stadium. 2-0 count to Erakinski. 1 out in the 8th.
Even the Army's doing it.
Oh, I love it.
Byproduct of their training. Just do what you're told.
And you know they're going to do it a lot more uniformly than the rest of us are. I bet they do it perfectly. I want to watch it next time it goes around. See if they're in step. 2-2 to Hinsky. Swing and a miss. Look at that. Perfect.
Sal's coming in throwing strikes, set up inside, and it's on the outside part of the plate, but gets the desired result, swing and miss.
Cardinals now 4 outs away from picking up another game on the Atlanta Braves. Freddie Freeman has the power to tie this game. He's 2 for 3 with 2 hits coming against Jaime Garcia. Now we check between innings. Left-hander since the All-Star break. Now batting .404 against Jaime Garcia. Popped up left side. Holiday comes in and he makes the play. Good inning for Salas. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Lance Berkman leads it off. Bottom of the 8th, Cardinals could use an insurance run here. Berkman, Freese, and Molina.
Berkman's had a very good homestand and a 5-game hitting streak. 10 for 18 during that 5-game hitting streak. In the homestand, he's 12 for 26.
First pitch to Lance is fouled off. That's not our Nissan drive of the game, but I think Lance does have our Nissan drive of the game, and this came early on. Now this is the double down the right field line.
Double, and drove in Holiday back in the 3rd inning. That was the 3rd run. Cardinals got another, and Berkman scored on an RBI by Molina. Berkman's 6 years now. He's had 30 home runs or more.
Eleven teams in baseball have been eliminated from playoff possibility. A couple may go as early as today. The Colorado Rockies, the Oakland A's. The Cardinals are fighting not to be added to that list anytime soon.
In the ballpark here with Chipper Jones and Berkman, we got 3 and 4 all time in home runs on the switch hitters list. Berkman 357. As a Chipper has 452. Chasing Eddie Murray and Mickey Mantle.
Jams in. Soft liner handled by Wilson. Out number 1.
Hot warming up. Stays this way. It'll be a good test. 1-run lead. Trying to pick up another save. Is Corey Patterson. He going for defense, or will he get pinch hit to get down to the pitcher spot? Probably go defense right field.
David Freese has an RBI along with Berkman and Molina and Pujols. 4-3 Cardinals. Each team has left 6 runners on base. September baseball, Al, and it would have so much more meaning if the Cards were a bit closer, but it's still fun the last few weeks of the season when teams are trying to play for something.
Hey, they can make it fun if they just keep on winning. Just win the game you're playing, other things will take care of itself. You have a chance to pick up a game on Atlanta in the wild card, and you hope Philadelphia will keep its dominance, pick up a game on Milwaukee. Really not much difference anymore now. Wild card, division lead. And you just have to keep on winning.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Barbaro looks like he's got pretty good stuff.
It's hard to believe that he was claimed off of waivers.
Atlanta Braves will play Florida and the Mets at home next week. Cardinals, of course, will play the Pirates in Philadelphia on the road. 2-2 the score in Milwaukee.
I believe Atlanta's been playing very well against Florida and the Mets.
Line drive to center. Long way, but an out. Another good inning. On to the ninth. Jason Mott to close it out. Jason Mott finishing his warm-up tosses now. 3 for 6 in save opportunities, but he's had an outstanding second half of the season. And he will have 7, 8, and 9 for the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves with a couple of bats on that bench, including one Chipper Jones.
That's right. So it's going to be a good test for the one-run lead. You mentioned 3 for 6, but I don't think he hasn't blown a save in the 3, as Patterson will go into play right. Descalzo's at third base. The 3 blown saves were kind of coming in like 7th or 8th inning type thing.
Right.
A lot of times
not even sure those should count.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, because sometimes
you're not going to leave them in anyway.
Yeah, you're really the ones that kind of count as 8th inning and 9th inning. But sometimes you come in, and remember, he came in with men on base a lot. And sometimes you come in with men on third base and nobody out. You know, and you're in with a one-run game, and you end up doing a good job, but the one run does score.
Brad Lidge into the ball game in Milwaukee. He's to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning, 2-2. The score there. He's on relief of Cliff Lee. There's a strike on the outside corner. So far, so good for Jason Mott.
Jason Mott picked up his 4th win last night with a scoreless inning.
The 1-2. Popped into center. John Jay calls off Patterson. Out number 1. Patterson is taken over in right field for Berkman. Descalzo's the new third baseman. And Jason Mott trying to close this one out for Jaime Garcia. Good work for Zepchinski and Salas both. Salas looked particularly sharp.
Yeah, the 1-2-3, 10-pitch inning with 2 strikeouts. Chipper's on deck.
Mott needs 2 more outs.
Jason Mott really has evolved this season. You know, beginning of the season, the only pitch he really had was the overpowering fastball. Now he's incorporating a little wrinkle in there. Secondary pitch he can throw and throw for strikes. A little bit off the plate. I mentioned last night that it really seems like he is far off the plate, but probably strides in. Little tailing action right there, but a guy like this with the power that he has, home runs are down. You got to be careful coming inside in a 1-run lead. So out away from him, but make it out there in the corner so he can't get the good part of the bat on it.
That one on the corner at 97 miles an hour. 2-2. The count remains to Jason Hayward. Cardinals trailing the Atlanta Braves by 6.5 games in the wild card. Could make it 5.5 with a victory here on September 10th in game 145. Comes in on it, and he fouls it back. Brewers are threatening in the bottom of the 8th. Ryan Braun.
Ron's a winning run out at second. There's a runner at first, and Casey McGee's up. So
be the go-ahead run.
It'll be a double play ball.
Bottom of the 8th.
And the count full.
Don't walk him in front of Chipper Jones, Al. You see good old-fashioned hardball right here. 3-2.
Fastball.
Hit this, big boy. He didn't, and he walked it.
Talked to Chipper today, and last year he had the ACL surgery at the end of the season. This year he had another meniscus, and I asked him how many knee surgeries. Now, I thought it was more, but he said 4, 2 on each leg, a couple meniscus on one leg, and a meniscus and the ACL surgery where he said it was no fun.
Pops it up, first pitch swinging into left field. Holiday comes on, makes the play. And fires to first base, not in time. 2 outs in the 9th.
Long run for Holiday. And going to slice away from him, pops it up. You got to respect his power, and you got him playing around. So a real long run. Holiday comes up with it.
Our Budweiser player of the game, Lance Berkman, 2 for 3. Single, a double, a walk, RBI, run scored. He's done it all. The Cardinal fans on their feet for out number 27.
Ricky, I'd be a little more concerned with Michael Bourne than I would be with Chipper Jones right now.
Game's not over.
Guy coming off the bench, been sitting there. Hard to catch up to that high fastball, but Michael Bourne has been in this game. He's 2 for 4. 1 for 4 against Mott, but he's a pretty good little player, and he's changed the complexion of the Atlanta Braves because of his speed.
4 hits last night for Bourne. Pops it foul, left field line. Descalzo out of room.
Now be smart. 0-2.
Now 1 pitch away from trailing the Atlanta Braves by 5.5 games.
Still first and second for Milwaukee, but 2 outs. And Bettencourt hitting.
Mott has his sign.
I was just looking at that lead right there, and I said, how would you like to end the game with a pickoff?
Okay by me. Just don't do the Bake McBride thing.
Yeah, well, we've seen Yachty end the ball game with picking off a guy.
Popped up behind home plate. Yadier Molina comes over, and Descalzo, and just out of play. About 3 rows back. Molina was there in case he was needed. It looked like he was going to try to climb the wall, didn't it?
Saw Ted Simmons at old Jerry Park in Montreal kind of almost dive into the seats, make a play.
Central Division. We showed you earlier the Cardinals 7 behind Milwaukee. They're tied in the 8th. The Cardinals 1 out away from picking up a game on Atlanta in the wild card. If Jason Mott can get Michael Bourne, the 0-2. Popped up again.
Brad Lidge recorded the 3rd out. So they're heading to the 9th, still tied in Milwaukee. All the Cardinals really hope for is to get close enough to put a little pressure on both Milwaukee and Atlanta. But there's really, it's only a half game difference. So it's really, right there just to have some fun.
Having a conversation on the mound now, 0-2.
Cardinals are 6 back of Milwaukee on the loss side, and that's the important side. And they're 6 back of Atlanta on the loss side.
Oh, 2 to Bourne. There goes the runner. It's a high pitch. The throw by Molina goes into center field. Hayward on to third base. He represents the tying run. And the Braves showing some courage here in the ninth.
Stolen base and E2, but didn't it look like Furcal was maybe a little late in covering? Took a high hop. You just got to sacrifice your body. You got to knock it down some way. He gets up and scoots to third on the E2.
And it's gotten tougher now for Mott. The 0-2.
Michael Bourne just keeps on battling up there. Outfield playing so shallow that if he hits one of the gap, he can circle the bases.
Very shallow for Michael Bourne. A bit of a surprise, trying to take away the blue pit, I guess.
Well, you know, he can't really. You wouldn't think he's going to hit a lot of power. And
as the ball hit the right field, medium depth. Corey Patterson puts it away, and Jason Mott closes it out for the Cardinals.
Good ball game for the Cardinals. Hard fought. Bullpen really pitched 3 scoreless innings to get out there, and Jaime Garcia picks up his 12th win. But this was a good pick-me-up for the Cardinals.
Redbirds have some fight in them. They'll play Atlanta in the series finale tomorrow. Postgame coming up next.